It's a Saturday morning in the late 90s. You wake up all cute and blonde with your Batman pyjamas on, with only one thing on your mind. You go through to wake up your mum as quietly as you can, when, in reality, you ask if you can go and watch TV, because you know when you turn that big old Sanyo CRT on, what awaits you is an endless amount of pure cartoon gold. You are soaking up every bit of information thrown at you. You are a cute, innocent, blonde, mushroom-haired sponge that never seems to have to be rinsed. What I'm trying to say is that a lot of the stuff I was a fan of and learned from when I was younger, I'm still a fan of today. And I'm not just talking about cartoons. My first brush with video games was somewhere in the early 2000s, where my mum and I went down to London to visit some of her friends. In their living room was this mysterious grey box, and when I pushed a button, caused a section of the box to flip open and reveal a CD inside with the words Ridge Racer on it. Being handed a controller which allowed me to control a car on the TV blew my tiny mind wide open. No longer was I a passive spectator to the whole TV experience, I was now an actual part of it. As you can imagine, my excitement of this new discovery lasted the whole trip home, resulting in that entire train being forced to listen to my plan on how to convince my mum why we should get me a PS1. There were video games in the 90s that were, would you say, rather significant. We're talking titles like Super Mario Kart, Mortal Kombat, Pokemon, GoldenEye, Metal Gear Solid, Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy VII, Crash Bandicoot, Grand Theft Auto. But the best game to be released in the 90s was a film tie-in? In 1997, a small animation company released an ambitious little film called Toy Story. The film did okay, and the company went on to do moderately well for themselves. When the sequel for Toy Story was released, alongside it came an accompanying video game, Toy Story 2: Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue. Films and video games of the same title rarely produce two independent quality products. Video games based off of films are usually cheaply made in an attempt to make more money. And films based off of games usually don't produce the same magic feeling of interactivity that a video game does. Sometimes both are just outright terrible, no matter their intention. Except Toy Story 2. In Toy Story 2, you play as Buzz fucking Lightyear, not that sociopath Woody. This game reminds me of being a kid, and not the bad bits like having to clean your room and eat all your veg, but the good bits, the sense of curiosity and adventure everybody has at that age. You explore the attic of a house, you climb trees, you go to a fucking toy shop with no adults around. Another reason why this makes you feel like a kid is because it teaches you things. Seriously, just like Bruce Almighty taught me how to spell beautiful. When I have to remember what colours mix well together, I always think back to this moment jumping on buttons to mix paint together. This game was made by Traveller's Tales, who, may I remind you, made all of these mildly successful games. Toy Story 2 walked, so games like Ratchet and Clank could fucking front flip and fly and shit. Never mind Super Mario 64, this is the best and most influential 3D platformer of all time. I am heavily biased towards this game, there is no doubt about it, but there are a few less impressive things about it. For instance, Rex constantly shouting in the same tone. The second tier voice actors used for the side characters are so bad, but so lovably hilarious.
Can you find my sheep?
And the camera is just outright awful. Toy Story 2 is just my reason as to why video games have become my favourite form of entertainment. I love films, music and TV, but in most cases, I will always choose playing games over watching a film. The memories I have of asking my mum to help me navigate the garage in Andy's house is exactly what I love about video games to this day. It is, to me, the most effective way to build a friendship, a relationship. because of that, it is the reason that I feel video games don't have to be taken so seriously. The point I'm trying to make is that the first thing a video game should be is fun. In a time where most big budget titles are basically films with gameplay segments added on, where everyone has an opinion towards them, which, don't get me wrong, I'll still play the fuck out of, it's okay for games like Toy Story 2 to exist. Whatever gives you the same feeling of nostalgic joy and the ability to not take life so seriously should be absolutely cherished, no matter what it is. And I think that should be appreciated. Now, in this clusterfuck of a world, more than ever.